The Splatoon series is known for its wide array of paint-related weapons, from buckets that hurl ink to classic shooters. There's a weapon for almost anyone. However, this doesn't mean there isn't any room to improve. A few months ago, Splatoon 3 was announced, and it has lit a new fire in the community. There are so many possibilities for what the Splatoon developers at Nintendo could possibly change or add. A small change could completely shift the way the game is played. Hello, my name is Ju. I am a competitive Splatoon 2 player. Today, I'm going to be talking about new weapons and weapon changes I'd like to see in Splatoon 3. In this new series, I'm going to talk about various changes and additions I'd like to see in the new game. And with all of that said, let's get started. For the most part, the majority of existing weapons in Splatoon 1 and 2 are really fun to play with and against. This is with a few exceptions. Flash Blaster! Most of the main weapons don't need substantial changes. A few weapon classes or weapons could use a tweak or two though. For example, I think the Blaster class could use a rework or changes. I think this because blasters were heavily nerfed between Splatoon 1 and 2. Between games, the blasters were given significantly higher jump RNG. Shot RNG is a mechanic in Splatoon which basically makes your weapon have a random area that it can shoot in. The random area of your shots are symbolized by 4 lines. This area for most weapons expands when you jump. For particularly blasters, this is devastating because if you jump and your aiming reticle is not on your target or is on your target and you are within range, you may just miss your shot because you are unlucky. If I were to make Splatoon 3, I'd remove blasters jump RNG entirely. I think this small change would fix a lot of frustration. For my next change, I'd like to modify the Charger class of weapons. Some people can really not stand fighting against Chargers due to their campy playstyle. For a lot of weapons, Chargers just really aren't fun to play against, and that's an issue. I don't think Chargers need a fundamental overhaul like some people think, but I do agree that they could use some changes. The new movement abilities shown in the Splatoon 3 trailer are an indirect buff and nerf to the Charger class. I think this is a step in the right direction. I also have an idea to buff/nerf the one-shot Chargers. I would lower their overall ink efficiency, but give them more range. I think this would allow Chargers to have more downtime and force them to be more careful with the shots they take. As a result, this would give shorter ranged weapons more time to get in closer towards the Charger, but at the same time make it harder due to their increased range. Finally, I would probably buff Bamboozler in some way, but I'm not exactly sure how to, and it would only be buffed assuming main power up damage up doesn't return in Splatoon 3. Weapon changes are cool, but do you know what's even more interesting? Brand new weapons. There are so many cool things that could be new weapon classes or additions to already existent classes. I have a few ideas I have come up with. One example is the Blast Dualies, a new addition to the Dualies class. This weapon would be short range but slow. When doing a dodge roll with the Blast Dualies, they would launch you into the air for a bit. This could be done twice with the most end lag afterward out of any dually. However, when you are in the air, you can do an air dash while rolling and falling. This would also apply when you were falling and not in a dodge roll. They would also be a 4-shot kill though with a pretty slow kill time and bad shot RNG. The additions to mobility would make up for the slow kill time and lack of paint. You wouldn't be launched high enough into the air to be able to get into areas you aren't supposed to. And an idea for a kit I have is Toxic Mist, or whatever its equivalent is in Splatoon 3 and Inkzuka. You can slow down your opponents and go in for a very easy kill. Another idea I have is called the Splatterang. This would be a new weapon that would function like a boomerang. The Splatterang would be a new mid-range weapon that can be shot a small distance by pressing ZR. You can charge the Splatterang by pressing and holding ZR. The longer you hold it, the farther it travels and the more turf it covers. This would have a limit. The Splatterang takes the same amount of time to travel no matter the distance, so the more you charge it, the faster it moves. It would have a very fast strafe speed. If the front and back hits connect, that would count as a splat. If this happens, it would make a sound similar to the H3 nozzle nose. Making contact with the Splatterang would do 70 damage. An idea for a kit would be Fizzy Bomb and whatever new supportive special is added in Splatoon 3. My next idea is a new take on the bow from the Splatoon 3 trailer. It would look like a crossbow. This weapon would be a mid-range weapon with a very fast projectile speed, similar to a charger. It would have slightly less range than the Bamboozler. The crossbow can store up to 3 chargers, but takes longer to charge than a Bamboozler. It would be a 2-shot. The shots would also have the ability to be arced and don't suffer from fall-off damage. A possible kit for the weapon would be Ink Mines and a long-range special. My final weapon concept is a bubble blower. It would look like one of those bubble gun things you played with as a kid. It would be a new addition to the shooter/blaster class. It would be a hybrid weapon that shoots bubbles at a slow fire rate similar to the 52 valve. It would paint the ground pretty well but not kill the best, similar to the arrow spray with a 4-shot kill time. Once bubbles pop after like half a second, they would cover the ground in ink and make an area of effect and damage. If a bubble makes contact with an opponent, it would explode immediately. I could see the casual side of the player base really hating this, so it could use some tweaks. There are some weapons in Splatoon 1 and 2 that could use heavy changes or rework. People truly hate them, or they're just really not fun to play against, or the weapons are just not fun as themselves, in my opinion. I think the Blob could use a rework, because it's just really not fun to play against, and I think this clip from Keo on ProChar's channel, linked in the description, puts it best.
I think Blob is one of the most poorly designed weapons in the game.
Okay.
I don't enjoy the idea of a weapon that just sits on the, because I like to call it like very passive gameplay. I like to make fun of it and call it AFK gameplay or whatever, but Blob is literally AFK gameplay. You sit in a perch on one spot of the map, you slightly angle your shots a bit to hit like really weird spots, but you just paint like over one spot. That's it. It's just area denial, like tent, except your personnel is not actually there.
So yeah, I think Blob could really use an overhaul, as it's really way too passive and just isn't really interesting to play against because it just holds an area and doesn't really do much else. Splatoon is known for receiving many updates throughout each game's lifespan. This can result in the launch of the game feeling lacking and not having much content that's already just sitting there in the game's files. People may also have to wait months to get their favorite main weapon into the game. To prevent all of this, at the launch of the game, every weapon that was in Splatoon 1 and 2 should have 2 kits available at launch. New to this game, every weapon will eventually have 3 kits. These kits will come in batches every few weeks to keep the game fresh. For my final idea, I have a concept for a new mechanic. Weapon attachments would be a new addition to Splatoon 3 that would increase customization in how you play the game. Weapons like the splatter scope would be removed. You could now buy a scope and various other attachments like silencers and an item that would decrease the visibility of the charger laser. You could attach them to a charger, and these would be bought from a new shop. This would allow you to customize the game, and each weapon attachment would be to weapon class exclusive to an extent, with some exceptions of course. Depending on the weapon, you could have 1 or 2 attachments. Small attachments would only take up 1 slot, while big attachments would only take up 2. This would add another layer of strategy and customization to the game. In conclusion, Splatoon is known for its wide array of weapons. With each game, the expectations for the amount, quality, and balance of weapons gets higher. I hope that the things requested in this video actually come into the game. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Okay, so this part's unscripted, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching this part of the video, and subscribe if you really enjoyed. You don't have to, but I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, and follow my social medias that are linked in the bio, and do all that fun stuff. Yeah.